Hey, welcome back. Today we are doing one of my favorite winter activities, and that is winter sowing. So the most simplest way of explaining it is, if you've never done it before, is you're essentially creating a mini greenhouse with a milk jug or any other material. I have these sort of bakery containers as well if I run out of milk jugs. So you are creating a small protected area that your seeds can germinate in when they feel ready. So every plant that we grow wants to be germinating in different times, in different conditions. And the beautiful thing about seeds is they know when to germinate, what time, what condition, and everything like that. So a lot of the trickier seeds to germinate work perfect in this method because they do exactly that. They will germinate as they need to, depending on the conditions and outside temperatures. So today I'm going to take you through the basics of going through winter sowing. It's an incredibly easy method, very inexpensive. You're pretty much paying for soil, which you might already be buying anyway. You don't need any grow lights, any shelves, any heat mats, none of that kind of thing. So it's just a beautiful, no fuss way to get some of your seeds started for the coming growing season. So to get started, you need a milk jug. This is a gallon milk jug, the perfect size. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a 3 or 4 inch base where the soil is going to be, and then the top is the lid. You're not going to use the cap on top. That's going to be open for airflow. And then you're also going to puncture 4 holes in the bottom. So let's get started. Okay, so here is one that I haven't cut yet. Thankfully, my father-in-law saved me a lot of these. We don't actually consume this much milk, so that was really helpful. What you're going to do before you actually start cutting it in half, you're going to puncture the bottom. I've seen people use hot glue guns and just using the warm tip just to create a nice hole in the bottom. I find just a cheap steak knife does the trick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not big enough that your soil comes out, just enough so that it can drain. Okay, and then starting at the handle, just at the very bottom, you're going to puncture and then cut all the way around except leaving the rest of the handle intact. Okay. Just like that. Super, super easy. You made yourself a little greenhouse. Okay, I'm going to whip through the ones that I have that I'm going to be using today. You can save them from year to year. Unfortunately, I left mine exposed to the conditions and they started to crack and just make a huge mess. So I'm going to start a little bit more careful so I can use them from year to year because they do work great. And it reduces the waste. Okay, so there's about 4 done. And now I'm going to get my soil prepared. So this is just regular gardening soil. I've used tons of different types. This is the Pro Mix with the mycorrhizae, which is just a really, really beneficial microorganism. And I'm just going to get it wet, just slightly moist. We don't want it puddling with water. I am using warm water in order to sort of heat up my soil a little bit so that it's not frozen, because I did store this soil outside. So this mix definitely has more perlite than I've used before, but I don't think that'll be an issue at all. This is technically a seed starting mix, which is great to use, but you can use even a potting soil, container soil. Just don't use your garden soil because that is too heavy. Okay, I'm happy with that. Not too dry, not too wet. So now we're going to fill the base of our jugs. And the most important part of this is, I would say, making sure you give them enough soil. So I've said in the past, I've loved this method for many, many years. And what I've learned is that you are getting very, very strong and vigorous plants by the end of using this method, by April or May, whenever you're ready to plant them out. I would say that because they are so vigorous, they're going to need a big, big chunk of soil. So you are using a lot of soil with this method because your plants are just going to be that much further ahead, and their roots will be using a lot of the soil. So they're going to be almost outgrowing this jug by the time you are planting them out in April or May, if you can believe it. Okay, there are 4 jugs ready to go so far. the next step would be sowing the seeds. And I was going to go through my list of what I'm hoping to get through today. Like I said, I don't know if I have enough jugs. I might use these as well. I've had great experience with these as well. So I'll just let you know what I plan to do today. We'll see how far I get. Okay, so the first one is Cerastrium, Snow in the Summer. And this is just a beautiful ground cover. It just has that silvery gray leaf. Really, really tidy leaf structure and mounding. And then of course the blooms are really pretty too. So I'm going to be starting more of that. I love that one. And then I've got a couple feverfews. So I have Tetra White Wonder. And then I have another Tetra White. This one's from Johnny's, this one's from Select. They're probably the same Tetra White. I seem to like this one better than Virgo. I really like the texture and the fluffiness of those blooms. And then I've got Feverfew Snowball. This is a tighter clustered flower. Very, very full and compact, very pretty. Love that one too. Feverfew does great winter sowing, as does Cerastrium. I've done that one really good germination with that. And then I have a few different echinaceas. Again, I've done all of these last year as well. You can check out my previous experience winter sowing. I will link the videos below. I've done all of these last year. They all came up great. But of course, echinacea is a second year bloomer. So the foliage and the roots were getting established last year. This year they'll be blooming, but the same for this. This year I'm just going to be getting the plants, no blooms off them yet. So the first one is Allen's Pride. Really beautiful lime green flower. And then Double Decker, just like that cute little pom-pom on top. Paradiso Super Duper, just a very, very fluffy echinacea with not your typical seed head. It almost looks like a zinnia dahlia mix. Really pretty. And then Green Twister. So of course that's the normal structure of the bloom, but just with that beautiful green addition. And then hands down, my favorite thing to winter sow is lupin. So I'm trying a few different new varieties for myself today. So the first one is Noble Maiden. I believe that's a lighter color. Really excited to try this one. I have tons of purple, love purple lupin, but I want more. So now there's another new one. Chandelier, I forget, I'll put it on this chandelier. I forget what color. And then My Castle. This one just has that beautiful magenta. Pink is just such a beautiful color. So excited to try that one too. And then I have a few different delphiniums. Some that I've tried before. I don't have great luck with delphiniums, but I have lots of seeds, so I'm just going to keep trying. Maybe it'll take a while for them just to get established. Maybe that's the thing. So the first one is Magic Fountains Lilac Pink and White Bee. So it says dark and light blue, cherry, lavender, lilac, and white. Really nice mixture of colors there. Belladonna mix. Pretty sure this is a lot of blues and purples. Really nice one. And then Magic Fountains Cherry Blossom. So dark and light blue, cherry, lavender, lilac, and white. Really nice, worth trying delphiniums again. Okay, another ground cover is Soapwort. And this is also known as saponarias. So this is good for rock gardens, for retaining walls, sort of spewing over, and just in general a nice ground cover with a really beautiful pink bloom. And then a few different columbines. I have Lime Sorbet, really beautiful muted color on that one. Black Barlow, very fluffy petals on that one. And lastly, Munstead White, so very clean white and crisps compared to the other one. And then I've also got Blue Fescue. So this is a nice little mounding grass. I did winter sowing with this one, I think 2 years ago. The plants are great, love it. I just want more of that texture in some of my borders, so I'm gonna try more of those. And then lastly, Red Hot Poker, Tritoma. So this is such an unusual plant. It looks so exotic and yet it is very cold hardy. Really excited to try this one from seed. I haven't actually seen it a lot at garden centers as the plant, so I'm gonna try growing it by seed. So that is the list of what I want to grow today. We will see, like I said, how many actual containers I have available. So also you are going to need a garden marker or a Sharpie, some tape and some scissors, and that's going to be to tape in these jugs. And the last thing you need, actually you don't need it, I've gone many years without it, but a friend of mine said that she swears by putting some earthworm castings in each of her jugs, because like I said, you're getting such a strong and vigorous plant. It's going to definitely need to be fertilized while it's sitting here in a few months, while this is its home. So I'm going to try that as well and see if I notice a difference. Never a bad thing to add some worm castings. And just a reminder, this is a no-fail method, but timing is still crucial. If you're going to be planting any of your hot summer annuals, now is not the time. That would be later. That would be, depending on your last frost date, that would be when your average temperatures, evening temperatures are a little bit more mild and you're not going to be getting that hard freeze. These plants that I'm growing specifically today want and need that cold stratification process. You're mimicking a winter, right? The seed heads drop, the seeds are sitting on the soil waiting to germinate, and when that temperature is right, they start to germinate when they know it's time. So these need the cold freezing temperatures. We're still going to get snow, we're still going to get a little bit more cold evenings, and they know when to germinate. I won't be doing any of my hot summer annuals yet, but you can start doing some of your cold hardy annuals. Okay, so let's start. So here I have Cerastrium, and because these plants are getting quite large, quite robust, their root systems are quite developed, by the time they're done growing in these jugs, you don't want to overseed this too much. Otherwise, you will need to transplant them sooner than later. So I typically do anywhere from 6 to 8 seeds in here. It seems to have that seems to be a good number for me, but definitely try what works best for you depending on your growing situation and climate and experience where you live. Okay, so here we are with the Cerastrium, snow in the summer, and that's probably plenty seeds, and just sprinkling it lightly on top. That's probably more than 6 or 8, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, and duct taping all around just to give it some protection. I haven't found it necessary to take the milk label off. It seems to come off with the elements anyway, so it's just one less step. Okay, and without tipping it over too much and disturbing the seeds, we're going to label our jug, and there we have it. Okay, one done, and let's see how many more we can get done. Okay, you'll have to forgive me. I forgot to put earthworm castings in the last one, but like I said, it's not entirely necessary. These plants usually do fine without it, but there's a little sprinkle in each of these jugs. Just mix that around. I'm going to skip the feverfew because I actually have so much of it and I'm not sure how many jugs I have, so we'll do that at a later date. Let's do our echinacea. Okay, I probably have enough for 2 jugs worth, so I'm not going to use all of these today. I'll just do a few right now. For larger seeds, you can press them into the soil. I haven't seen a great difference in pressing them in versus just leaving them on the top, but it doesn't hurt, that's for sure. All right, that was Allen's Pride Echinacea. Okay, another Echinacea. This one's the double decker. Same thing, I've got quite a lot of these, so I'll probably just do some of the packet. You can see I'm not too fussy about counting and spacing, but kind of just let nature do its thing here, and whatever germinates is usually, because the germination rate on these jugs, I tell you, is pretty it's pretty high. And there's that one. And the next echinacea, Paradiso Super Duper, fun name for that one. Alright, I still have these containers left and some soil, so I think I'm going to use these. The only thing to keep in mind when you're using sort of a more shallow, flimsy container is to be mindful about the snow, right? A lot of snow is going to crush this container, so just make sure to sort of scoop off the snow if you get too much. So I'm going to be popping holes in the top to allow moisture and snow and rain to come into this, and then also some at the bottom to allow it to escape as well. Well, that wraps up today's project. If you've never tried winter sowing, I really encourage you to try it. So many benefits. little cost and really, really great success. If you have any questions, let me know. I've sort of glazed over the topic a little bit because I have done this so much in the past, but I will link my other videos below, including all of my results from the winter sowing. Those are really fun videos because you get to unearth or reveal all the beautiful plants hidden behind the milk jug lid. Really, really exciting to see how established these plants are when it is planting season. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.